So here we are, we have our peach trees. Again, it's March 29th, Good Friday. Our peach trees are starting to bloom. I don't know if we just had some bees on here or flies. They just came off. And we have some pear trees. They're starting to bloom also. It's so nice here today. We trimmed these up late. We have 3 pears, 3 peach, and 3 cherry trees. So our second pear tree is starting to blossom here. And then we can walk over. Here's our third pear tree. Blooming. Big Bradford pear across the street that's in full bloom. And then our cherry tree here isn't really blooming. But our third cherry tree is starting to blossom here. Another Bradford pear in the background there. This is our apple tree. And we have a ladybug right there. But it's just starting to leaf. I don't see any blossoms yet. And of course you have your standard dandelions growing up here. Over here in our garden we have strawberries that are starting to come up, but they're not blooming yet, of course. A little early for that. Underneath here, and then we have grapes, and they're not blooming at all yet, not even leafing yet. It looks like they're starting to bud here. Right there. So it'll be a little while. Here in our yard we have our dead nettle and chickweed. A little too much of it to my liking, but it's for the bees. They enjoy it. Alright, so now I'm with Anita because she knows what these plants are.
Kind of.
So over here we have
Basic spring balls. I got some iris coming up. They're two-tone, like a yellow and burgundy color. Got my daffodils. Some Hakara, also they're the Corabellus family. Coral bells, whatever people call them. Our raspberries, which we like to do with this grates. It keeps the brambles from flopping over. Makes it much easier for picking. Some hyacinth, which is probably one of my absolute favorite flowers. Got a bleeding heart that's coming up. I've been struggling with those, so I'm very happy to see that.
more raspberries.
But this last year I did a little experiment with planting some buckwheat in there to give the bees some extra stuff during the summer. Some more iris coming up. I like to do a lot of different levels of things coming up. You get like your earlier bulbs, like your hyacinth and your crocus and tulips, but then later the iris will bloom.
Go.
Got a little bit of peony coming up with some daylilies. And when the peony is done, the daylilies will cover up that as it's dying back down. Some more daffodils. I think these are actually more the paper white family. Phlox. I like the early spring flowers. And then I like to do planters within my beds to give it pops of colors.
What's this?
During the summer. That's some more hyacinth. These are my butterfly bush. Later it will be the butterfly bushes, which will be late fall. More of the daffodil, of course. Got an azalea bush.
And then we have these urban apple trees. They grow in a column. 3 of those here and 3 in the backyard.
Miniature daffodils.
Miniature daffodils right
Miniature
here.
daffodils, some more azalea. A
Japanese maple.
You see its little blooms starting now. Some columbine in here. I've got some Shasta daisy and later some mums that will come up in here.
And then we have our fish pond right here. I don't know where any fish are.
In there somewhere, but he's very shy.
I don't see the fish hiding. They're all hiding at the moment.
We do have a frog that's been coming back. Oh, my Easter lily made it. Got a little Easter lily starting to come up.
And Easter's on Sunday.
So
So.
it won't bloom for Easter, but it'll be here.
Oh, look, we got bees
I think that's it's either freesia or anemone. I'm sorry, I have a tendency to plant things and forget what they're called.
We got bees working here.
But that's why I like the early bulbs, because it gives them extra things. And more hyacinth. Some more columbine. I got some tulips starting up in here.
Bees are over here too.
More of the flax. I forget what that little blue plant is called, but it's one of my favorites. It's very early spring.
What's this, phlox you say?
That's creeping phlox. Some people don't care for it. I like it. I like the very early spring flowers that it gives. And then later it's a nice green to keep weeds from coming up while your other flowers are trying to grow.
I know what this is, a rose bush.
Very good, dear. More tulips coming up. A lot of perennials in these beds that come up. Again, things at different times. One of our apple trees. We have a little family of chipmunks living in our whiskey barrel, so we're trying to figure out I will get one that actually sits in the little hole and looks at me some days. That's why it's now leaning, and they do like to snack, especially on my sunflowers. I have yet to get sunflowers to grow because they eat them.
Our standard dandelions.
My jumping jack clematis, that'll be full with big purple flowers soon. This is where I try to do my sunflowers, where everybody keeps eating them.
What are these?
Those are grape hyacinth. So it's the smaller of the other hyacinths that we've been seeing. It's another earlier spring blooming, pretty sturdy. Doesn't mind the frost. If you see there's a little bee hopping out on one. You just flew off over that way.
Come over here. What's this bush?
That's a Rosa Sharon.
Rosa Sharon.
If you don't mind it, it is a little bit of a messy one. It leaves lots of shoots come up in your garden. So if you don't mind that, then it's a nice one to have.
Now we're going to move over here to our tree line. And we just have all sorts of things through here.
And pretty much everything is very heavy duty, doesn't need a lot of care. We just let nature do its thing back here. And it's just filled with a lot of daffodils, tulips, sedum. In the fall, the bees love the sedum. A lot of the stuff in my regular flower beds that didn't do well end up back here.
Got some bees floating around here.
Periwinkle is this purple flower. And this is where we have our blackberry.
And we got our blackberries here. And we do the same thing where we have the canes come up through the grating. These are just, farm panels, cattle fence. And our squeaky windmill.
Yep. Ideally, if I can get the ground to cooperate, I would like to have like little in-between crops coming up through the ground here, but the soil isn't really cooperating just yet. It used to be a lot of clay, so. This is my milkweed garden that we're entering. This is where I collect all my caterpillars, my monarchs. I get quite a few monarchs here. I probably have released about at least 50 monarchs each summer the last couple summers. So this is kind of where I find all those.
So we'll do some caterpillar and butterfly stuff later on in the year as we get on to that. So that's pretty much how we start out our garden. This is the end of March, and we'll be back in a couple weeks, and we'll do an updated video, and you can see how everything has bloomed and blossomed and sprouted.
Did you show my strawberries and grapes?
Yeah, I did. Okay. So, all right, have a great day. Thank you.